Let it be a good Shabbos, dear Bait family, as we receive the Torah anew in Parashat Yitro and try to attune our ears to the many divine voices that emanated from Sinai and think about the ones that speak to us today. And I'm particularly thinking about some beautiful teachings from the beginning of this week's Parashat Yitro, before the stand at Sinai, when Yitro hears about the extraordinary actions that God did for Bnei Yisrael and picks up his daughter Tzipporah and his two grandsons and brings them to reunite with Moshe, his son-in-law, husband of Tzipporah and father of these two young boys or men. And we're told at that time again about the name of Moshe's first son, Gershom, and then we find out more clearly about his second son, only mentioned very generally earlier on in the book of Shemot, and about his name. And from their names, we glean, I think, a series of messages that cohere for what it is to be a Jewish people. Moshe's elder son is named Gershom, and the Torah says, Shem ha'echad Gershom, the name of Moshe's first son was Gershom, ki amar ger hayiti be'eretz nochriya. Moshe called him this saying, and this is already recorded in chapter 2 of Shemot. Moshe called him Gershom, a play on Ger Sham, I was a stranger there, because he said, Ger hayiti be'eretz nochriya, I was a stranger in a foreign land. Some of the commentaries ask the question, if we look at biblical names, they usually name for deliverance, for salvation, for blessing, for relief from difficult times. Eza simcha, what's the good note in because I was a stranger in a strange land? And one suggestion is the following. Given that I was be'eretz nochriya, given that I was in a foreign land, and actually it's a debate whether that was Midian or Mitzrayim, given that I was in a foreign land, ger hayiti, I actually recognized and maintained my distinctness, my strangeness, my otherness. That if we have to be in a foreign land, recognizing that we are distinct and preserving our unique identities is essential to our survival. In this way, Gershom is part of an incredible chain that goes back to Abraham saying, Ger v'toshav anochi imachem, I'm a stranger and a temporary dweller amongst you, to Yaakov, who after dwelling with Laban says, Im Lavan garti, as he's coming back, telling Esav, I dwelt with Lavan, a temporary dwelling. And when Rashi says there that the play on garti is taryag mitzvot shamarti, rearrange the letters of I dwelled, and you get the number taryag, which stands for the 613 mitzvot that Yaakov kept. Rashi's also playing on the fact that Yaakov chooses the word garti. I lived as a stranger. I preserved my unique identity in a foreign land. So this is the first core message. In a foreign land, we have to preserve our unique identity. Moshe's second son is named Eliezer because the God of my father saved me, was with me and saved me, came to my help and saved me from the sword of Paro, a reference to the fact that Moshe was spared when Paro wanted to kill him after he killed the Egyptian who was attacking his Hebrew brother. And it's interesting that the Torah introduces Eliezer's name with Shem ha'echad Eliezer. It said Shem ha'echad Gershom, the first one's name is Gershom, and we would have expected Shem ha'sheni Eliezer, the second one's name is Eliezer. And some of the commentaries say this is just stylistic. Sometimes the Torah says echad and sheni, and sometimes it just says echad and echad. But one beautiful commentary suggests that actually the message here is Shem ha'echad Gershom and Shem ha'echad Eliezer. We don't have first children and second children. Yes, there's birth order, but we relate to each of our children as ha'echad, as the number one, as our unique one. And that along with being a nation that preserves our distinct identity, we look at every individual to find and extract and highlight their unique qualities, the way that makes each one of us a one. And then, of course, bringing this together is the fact that God says in the end, Ki Elohei avi be'ezri vayatzileni mecherev paro. Moshe says at the end, in naming Eliezer, Ki Elohei avi be'ezri vayatzileni mecherev paro. He doesn't say, My God came to my help and saved me from Paro's sword. He says the God of my father. Why? The first basic answer is because Moshe at that time, when God saved him from the hand of Paro, was at a time when he was fleeing and met God at the burning bush. And there God introduced himself as the God of your father. Moshe only knew God at that time as the God of his father. And it took him time to develop that unique relationship to make God his own God. Maybe that's the third piece. Part of what makes us a unique nation, preserving our distinct identity wherever we go, and maybe what helps us look for the unique qualities in every individual member of our family, is actually recognizing that what we share in common is the God of our fathers, is a chain of transmission that connects us to previous generations. That in and of itself is worth preserving and worth helping each person find their unique way to do it. May it be a Shabbat in which we reflect on our unique identity as Jews, on the uniqueness of every individual lifting up their special qualities, and on the fact that we are part of something which is handed down parent to child, generation to generation, so valuable, so rich, and so special to preserve. Shabbat Shalom.